I love it when I have to do that twice. Good morning. All right, I'm happy this is being recorded like everything else because what I'm going to show you today has one word to it: magic. How many people are just frustrated in dealing with people that are completely unrealistic with pricing? Well, if you're here, your hand should go up, right? So I just want to make sure like we're all alive, excited, full of energy. So I'm going to walk us all through a process today. And the first thing, it has to start with your mindset. And even when we do live prospecting, one of the things we get is, how do I get my client to do this? Well, you can't get your client to do anything. That's not your job. Your job is to be a facilitator. And remember the 7 keys of effective conversation. Key number 1, it's always their choice. So if something is somebody's choice, what can you really get someone to do? Well, the first is you need to understand the clarity of your role in the situation. Your job, if you want them to make the choice that you want them to make, which essentially is what's best for them, is to present information and have a conversation in such a way that what you're saying absolutely makes sense to them and it's their idea. Ooh, somebody's in England. That's awesome. So think about that. When we go in and have these presentations on pricing, who here feels it gets slightly combative quickly? I see all these smiles. Jen Murray, that's a cool cup you have there. So here's the thing. The first part about getting sellers to list at your price is all of the things you do before that. So when you go around people's homes and they give you this long, extended tour, and they're telling you about all the things they did and all the money they spent and how special all of those things are, what do you normally do? Write 1 or 2 words in the chat. Nicole Blanchard, what's up? I love Miriam. You could always count on her for like a straight answer for anything. Exactly. I agree with them. I tell it how great it looks. I acknowledge them. Fru's great answer. Listen, acknowledge. Corey, I tell them it's going to not increase their value. Please don't be combative. Take notes and repeat what they tell me. Shonda, I see you follow the process. Nod and think how crazy they are. I just wait and listen until they're done and then give them my thoughts. Compliment their choices. Okay. You ever hear the saying, the roadway to hell is paved with good intentions? This is it. Ding, 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 ding. So essentially, we go into somebody's house and, you put your stuff down on the kitchen table, the coffee table, wherever you're going to have that big conversation that you've made up in your head, how it's going to go 1,000 times. It never really goes that way. And so what the sellers are doing when they walk around the house is, one, there's a pride of ownership, right? Every single thing in their house was their choice. Of course, they're going to love it. It's what they wanted, right? The second thing is they are selling you on how much their house should be worth. So the first rule of sales is establish authority and control. Do we have any authority and control when we walk around people's houses over complimenting them and like trying to be their friend? No. We don't have to do, Corey, I'm going to put you on the spot here. We don't have to disagree with them, right? Now, stop. Like, no more of this. It ends today. So when they want to give you the tour of the house, the first thing to do to get people to list at your price is you're going to say, great. And then you're going to say, look around, right? Isn't it very clear when you look around that you can see some of the nice things that they've done, right? You're going to look around, you're going to say, look, it's very clear without even thinking or without even looking or just looking around for a second, how great your kitchen is and this thing and that thing. Would it be okay if I asked you some questions To market and position. So would it be okay if I asked you some questions so that I could market and position your home to the ideal buyer, right? So that's really what you want to get into. You want to be a strategist right from the beginning, right? So would it be okay if, as we walked around the house, Jen, if I asked you some really important questions so that I can take the information for the marketing positioning of your home for the ideal buyer? And they're going to say, yeah, that was great. And then if you go to the questions we have as you're walking around the house, and you're going to say, and then other people, there's another approach, right? Would it be okay if I actually walked up through the house on my own and I looked at it through the eyes of a buyer and I wrote down some questions that commonly would come up as I work with buyers as well, and we discussed them together so that we could market and position your home to maximize your equity? Either one of those are okay. What's not okay is walking around with them. Because here's the thing, nobody wants you in their house for 3 hours. No way, right? The longer these appointments are, I find that the conversion rate goes down. And if you're going to be there for 4 hours and you're going to spend that kind of time for them, these people call, email, and text you incessantly for every detail. Like it's crazy. So now you're going to walk around, you're going to collect this information. But when you're walking around, you're going to ask them questions like, what made you buy this house? What were you most excited about? Out of all these rooms, would you mind bringing me to the room that's your favorite? And then they're going to bring you to the favorite room. And then you're going to say, well, what makes this your favorite room? What are your favorite memories of being here? In terms of the location to your house, what makes this great for you? What's one thing in the house that you did not know that when you moved was something that was a huge benefit that you found out after? Right? What you don't realize is as you're doing this, number one, you're making yourself different than everybody else. Do you know anyone else that asked these questions? The answer is no, right? Because I invented these all in my head. But when I sold real estate, I walked around and I realized like how senseless these tours were. The other thing is you sit here and you over compliment these people, you agree with them, and then when the price comes, you tell them the opposite of what you think. So what does that make you in their mind? The enemy combatant, right? Like, wait a second. Chirag agreed with everything I said, how valuable it is, how great is it, and then it looks like it's just a salesperson that wants to drop the price so they get their 2-3% commission when 97, 98%, or 97.5%, depending on where you list, go to the other party. Can we all see where the friction starts to come from? Yes or no? Do you think this one simple thing would change the entire experience for you and your clients? Hit yes, no, or maybe in the chat. We're on a roll today. Cherish, we have some new team members coming on board, and one of the things they're going to do, we're going to call this we're going to brand this for Cherish. This is going to be called the Cherish Hope Framing. We're going to go back and we're going to get all the frames and stuff we have here after the conversation. So, does this all make sense? So now you're going to have the actual pricing conversation. Now, there's a difference. When you think of the word pricing, there's a winner and there's a loser, right? Pricing, negotiation, everyone thinks somebody wins and somebody loses. So now I want you to make yourself sound elevated. Instead of pricing your home, when you guys go into the comps and the CMA portion of this, what are the words you use? Drop it in the chat. Positioning for all of our OG members. You notice that? We're going to talk about positioning your home on the market so that we can maximize your equity. So let me pull this document up and let's go through this next. Keys. Do you see how much different positioning your home on the market sounds than pricing your homes, what homes have sold for, and everything else? Positioning your home on the market is a collaborative approach. Pricing and other things like that, they're getting like ready to fight you, right? Like they're getting tense, their fists are up. And Corey's going to tell me my house is worth nothing and I want all this money, right? So we're going to say prior to positioning I'd like to go through next, Jen, how to position your home on the market so we can maximize your equity. Would that be okay? They're going to say, yeah, absolutely, Chirag, that'd be great. Prior to discussing that, I would like us to align on one simple concept. And they're going to say, okay, great. Now, they're going to say, look, we believe that selling your home, it's a partnership. And would you agree that there are things that you can control as the owner, things that I can control as the agent you choose to partner with, and ultimately things that neither one of us can control? And they're going to say yes. And you have to follow this process exactly verbatim. I would say, Jen and Corey, can you control the asking price at which you offer your home on the market? Yes. Can you control the condition of which your home is when you present it on the market? Yes. Can you control the terms that you offer a buyer when selling your home on the market? Yes. Can you control the accessibility, how easy or difficult you make it for buyers and their agents to get into your property? Yes. Is there anything else as the owner of this home that you feel you can control? Anybody? Is there anything else the seller can control? No. As the agent you choose to partner with, can I control the visual story that we tell of your home through marketing online and social media? Yes. Can I control the marketing and advertising campaign and the execution of it? Yes. Can I control the negotiation strategy once we have an offer? Yes. Can I control the communications and customer service to ensure you have the exact information in the time frame that works best for you? Yes. Is there anything else, Jen and Corey, that I can control as the agent you choose to partner with for your home? No. Does anyone, I'm going to stop my screen share here. Does anyone, unmute yourself here, this is well worth it. And you have to talk in 1 or 2 sentence answers. Does anyone see what happened there? And not anyone that's been in my programs before.
The seller answered the questions themselves.
One, yep, that's perfect, right?
Seller acknowledges your role.
Bingo! Ding, 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 ding. You made yourself an ally. They answer in their own words.
Exactly.
So when you ask somebody a question and it's their own words, if I'm like, what color is this? And you're like, black and silver, to you, it's black and silver because that's what your mind thinks. If I tell you this is black and silver, this is black, you're always going to interpret it different. There's that combative approach, right? But the most important thing, thank you, Suzanne, is what she said. She acknowledged your role. This is role clarity. It is the biggest challenge you all have in this whole transaction. They don't know what the hell you do. So therefore, you're responsible for everything. Now watch this. We'll go to the next part. And then I would say, ultimately, Jen and Corey, there are things that neither of us control. Can either one of us control world events? No. Can either one of us control the local economy? No. Can either one of us control the stock market? No. Can either one of us control interest rates? No. Can either one of us control the prices your neighbors are willing to accept for their homes? No. And I'm going to add another one. Can either one of us control what buyers are willing to pay for homes? No.
Wow.
So ultimately, would you agree it's a partnership of what you can control and what I control, working against what neither one of us can control? What do we all survey says? Yes. Nobody says no to that. If they say no, don't walk, run. It means they're batshit crazy. Right? They literally just, they want an indentured servant that they could yell at, treat bad, and blame everything. This might have been one of the coolest things I've ever made in my life. I don't know how we made it or how it came about, but it works all the time. I would print this out and put it in your listing presentation. Yep. Margie, I will say it again. Ultimately, it's a partnership of what, would you agree? It's ultimately a partnership, Margie, of what you can control and what I control, working against what neither one of us can control. See, in marketing, it's called the us versus them movement, right? So we want to be on the same side. If you don't make somebody the bad guy and the villain, guess who's the bad guy and the villain? How can somebody realistically be mad at you, frustrated and combative because a choice another adult that you don't know made, that you don't live in their house, you don't have equity in their house, and your name's not on the deed? How can they be mad at you about that? I'll tell you exactly how. Well, you know, these houses are updated and this is like this, and this is what buyers are spending now, and this is what the comps in your neighborhood say, blah, 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 blah. But wait a second, you just walked around my house and told me how great it was. Now you're telling me it's worth shit. Welcome to the party. Is this complicated? No. This is like the easiest conversation to have. You could smile, you can feel good about it, because in the end of the day, what they do is their choice and you don't control any of these things anyway. The sooner you can accept it, the easier it becomes for everybody. Your energy changes because you're not like tiptoeing around this. Don't worry. We're doing excellent on time today. I'm going to go through all your hallucinations, objections. I'm in like a fun sales conversation mood today. So I'll leave 5 minutes in the end and you can give me any client hallucination. I'll answer it on the spot. No preparation. So here's the thing. Now that you've done this, you can now go through the comps together. Just like the buyer ones, you're going to show them the comparable properties and ask them questions. Do you recognize this home? What's the condition of the home? What do you think makes your home different than this home, right? And ultimately, Sharon, there's 3 key indicators: days on market, list price to sales price, and what a home traded for, right? And you go through and you ask them when you're presenting the comps, right? This is why it's cool to have it in a collection, because you can put all your comments in. Me personally, I'm a collection for comps conversation guy versus like a CMA. The CMA is just all like data and information, right? If they're finance or they're accountant, like it might be different for them. Does this make sense to everybody? I always say that I'm like the Wizard of Oz when it comes to pricing conversations. Because in the end of the day, what happens is as soon as you defend something, you own it. The market is not your child. It's not your job to defend them at all costs. It's their parents and protect them, and no telling, no explaining, no being combative. It's all lost. So you go through the comps. Does anyone need help on how to talk through this? I would say, Jen and Corey, like, how long was this house on the market? What was the list price and sales price? What the seller wanted versus what the buyer wanted to pay? What did it ultimately trade for? What do you think? Looking at this, what's the condition of it? How does it compare to your house? Okay, great. And I go through the next one. So what you're saying is homes in this market sell in 12 days with sellers getting an average of 103%, or if it's going down, they sell in 42 days with, you know, sellers getting 97% of what they ask, and ultimately this price for homes in this condition. Is that correct? And they're going to say, yeah, that's correct. And you're going to say, great. Now, if you put yourself in the shoes of the buyer, where do you think, based on the uniqueness of your home, where do you think it fits into this range? Like, where do you think it fits in? And let them talk about it. And if they turn around and then they say to you, well, I don't really, most people have an idea in their mind. So don't, like in negotiation, whoever speaks first loses. They have a clear idea in their mind. If they don't, right, then I would give them a number, right? I would say, you know, it's based on 1-1 and, you know, as you said, here are the differences in your home and everything like that, right? And so now they're going to say, well, but I still want to list my house at this price. I'm going to say, great. So what I hear you saying is that since you feel that we have the best marketing, that we could set a record in maximizing your equity in this home. You see how different that is? Everyone go buy a stack of yellow notepads, like a thing of 3 of them. Remember my whole neuro association concept? People think of yellow notepads as legal notepads, and it's like important and everything else. And you're going to say, great. As we agreed before, it's our partnership together working into things that neither one of us can control. So I want to make sure that we can identify what specifically makes your home worth more or different, whatever the scenario is, than these other homes, so I can justify the price to agents and their buyers. So I wrote something, and let's walk around and show me what your thoughts are, and let me write down the cost so I can put it in our marketing. Do you think that people are going to be excited at this point? Yeah. This is like the greatest magic trick of all point. So when you go around, you're going to ask, you're going to acknowledge, you're going to write, you're going to put down a price. You're not going to over compliment or anything else. And remember, you did not go through this in the beginning of the home tour, right? If you do this in the beginning, it also takes away from this in the end. Or you can say, let's go back to those things you really highlighted, right? And isn't the most common situation people want renovated home money for dated homes? All day long. So now they're going to go around and they're going to, as Corey said, that these or somebody says your upgrades are worthless, right? If they don't count. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, okay, so these are the 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever things that you shared. And you felt since you invested this much money that a buyer should be willing to pay this much. You're going to say, absolutely. Now I would say, Corey and Jen, if you're objectively looking at this, if you were buying this home, right? I would say, if we're giving you credit for these updates, would it be fair to give a buyer credit to update your home to the other home, like in terms of kitchens, baths, and other things? If they're just gonna look at you like this, oh yeah, okay. So how much would it cost to make your kitchen this kitchen? How like, and at the end of it, and you're gonna say, based on that, what would you objectively be willing to pay for your home? Does everyone see what happened there? Jen, no? You're the seller here, so let me unmute you.
Yeah, maybe go over it again.
So I'm going to walk around and I'm going to list out all the updates, right? Because everything has to be in the benefit of you and Corey, since I married you two off for this call, and that I always have to be in agreement with you. So I frame the conversation, the Cherish Hope method, in saying that, so what I hear you saying is, since you believe we have the best marketing, that we could set a record in maximizing the equity of your home. They can say, oh yeah, great. So I brought my notepad. So let's walk around and see what specifically you did and how much it costs, so I could justify the price to agents and buyers when they view your home and they ask. I'm going to walk around the house and write down all the updates as well as all the prices. I'm not going to over compliment you. I'm not going to do anything. And at the end of it, I would say, great. So you're saying that these upgrades add up to this much. Yes. So a buyer essentially should pay this much more for your home. Absolutely. Great. Now, would it be fair if you're objectively looking at your house through the eyes of a buyer that we would have to give the same set of credits and factor in the cost of making your kitchen their kitchen for their updates? And they're going to look at you and they're always going to be like, oh, yeah. And when you go through the numbers, it always balances out. And then you ask them, so if you were looking at this home now and you were buying it and it wasn't your home, based on this information we have, what would you be willing to pay? And see what they say. And then the next question you could ask for them, another question for thoughts, if you looked at your home and you looked at these other homes that had different conditions, what would make you buy your house for the same amount of money or more, and why? And then another repertoire is, so I understand that it's really important to you to get 1.5 for your house, when you just had mentioned that, like, really the number that you felt's the right one objectively is 1.2. What will happen for you if you're able to get 1.5? And they're going to tell you all their stuff, right? This is all stuff underneath their iceberg. But what won't happen for you if you don't get that number? And this is really where the challenges are coming from. And if you're not able to get this number, what's your plan B? Now you've covered all the bases and say, look, my job is to support you 100% in our partnership and what is best for you. So based on that and all the information we share, what do you think is in alignment with your goals and expectations? Done. And then if they still want to list it at a higher price, you're going to say, I have no problem listing at this price. And based on what you said, homes were selling in 15 days in the neighborhood. Are we in agreement if we don't get the right offer in 15 days, we'll drop the price to this? Is what you felt objectively, if you were a buyer, what you would pay for the home. Doesn't that sound like a much better approach than like this whole like let's art of war, Sun Tzu, and pricing properties? And that's how you get sellers to list at your price. So there is, where are you? And yes, this is before the CMA. There's somebody here. We're going to go a couple minutes after today. Veronica, you use this every time. Can you unmute yourself and share like your before and after experience?
Hey, Chirag, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I started using this when I took your class last year, so I've been using it for a while, and I bring it to every presentation. So I think it's definitely a much easier conversation because from day one, they actually know what I can control and what they can control and what we cannot control. So we talk about pricing, but also I set expectations that if we don't sell in like about 15 days or 10 qualified showings, and it depends on the area, that we're going to look again at what's going on, and then we will need to adjust the price. So basically I told them, my marketing sell homes, and again, you can control what you can control, I can control what I can control, and then we'll take it from there. So it just sets expectations too for me moving forward as well, but it's pretty easy. It makes it really easy when I need to talk to them about pricing again.
And how was it before you used this?
I didn't use that, so I don't know. I just talked about price, and I mean, I did say the same thing, right? Like looking at the days on the market, I would say like, hey, this is the average days on the market in your area, because I cover such a huge territory. I cover DC, Maryland, Virginia, so every area is different. So I would go through the days on the market as well, and I would tell them like, hey, after X amount of days or this amount of showings, we're gonna talk about pricing. But it just makes it much easier with what I can control and what you can control. Like if the interest rates go up tomorrow, sorry, I can control that, right? Like whatever comes we looked at, they're not gonna be the same moving forward, right? So it just makes it much easier.
Perfect. And as Miriam says, it's much easier when you do the med C in the beginning. Like if you look at this, we're actually giving you a process to follow for the whole entire presentation. Thank you, Veronica. Right, so practice this. Does everyone here hit yes if you have more confidence in being able to have this conversation? Let's see where we all are today.
Chirag, I have a quick situation I experienced recently. Can I chat super quick?
Shoot me a message, right? Because I don't know, and I'm happy to answer. Is it like an objection? Can you give me the scenario quickly?
Yeah, I have a seller. He wants a higher price than I think the apartment is worth. A neighbor is bringing on the exact same layout on a higher floor, like one floor above, and he has the roof deck, private roof deck.
So
And he wants
here's
the price higher than that unit or the same as that unit.
you're going to ask him, the first question is, right, what will happen for you at this price? What won't happen for you at this price? What's your plan B? And ultimately, if you're buying a home in this building, what would make you pay more than this unit above with the roof deck, and why?
Mhm.
Ask him
Right.
the questions. Don't explain
Right.
anything. This will
Right.
psychologically walk him through the process. And in the end, if somebody has a roof deck on a higher floor and wants a higher price, you don't want to have this listing, because if you have people competing with you, I used to do it with sometimes that agents had all this inventory, and we did this with a client on like an $8 million house in Long Island. It's like, look, is your goal to have your house sit on the market for 182 days? No, well, look at the other stuff that the person sells.
Got it. Let them come to the realization that
they have to. You can't tell. You can't exactly. Yeah. You can't tell them this. And look, everyone needs to practice. DM Corey if you want to practice. Connect, message, As always, love in my heart. I love you all. Everyone come back for live prospecting, please. 12:30. I want to make you some money today.
I want to make
Bye,
some money.
everybody.
Bye,
Yeah,
Chirag.
exactly. Bye.
Thanks.